Episode 1. The past is the key to the present. Welcome to the channel Nephilin Expedition. Here, you will find the keys that will unlock the doors to your knowledge. Therefore, disregard almost everything you have read in some articles and publications about the creationist and evolutionary theories, as most of the content taught in these two areas aims only to keep you in complete ignorance, in order to subject you to the dark interests of a matrix of political, ideological, religious, and economic order. We caution that the content of this channel aims to help all those who are seeking the truth. "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free" goes far beyond a catchy phrase, vulgarized by those who do not know the history of Earth and its inhabitants. We respect those who prefer to live in a comfort zone, surrounded by narratives and surrendering control of their lives to those who exploit the ignorance of others. Therefore, be prepared to receive the most comprehensive source of information regarding the origin of Earth and its inhabitants. 200 years ago, in the ancient biblical region of Nineveh, present-day Mosul in Iraq, the cradle of Sumerian civilization, around 25,000 clay tablets inscribed with cuneiform writing and countless historical artifacts were discovered. After their discovery, these tablets were only translated after about 100 years, and it was only over 45 years ago that they were interpreted by Zecharia Sitchin. The most astonishing of these discoveries is that after extensive testing of the material, the scientifically recorded dating found that they existed for over 6,000 years. In other words, the Sumerian tablets are at least 3,000 to 3,500 years older than the Hebrew Bible. Not only the Hebrews, but also the Egyptians, Greeks, Romans, Mayans, and all civilizations drew from the sources of the Sumerians to create their religions and mythologies. Therefore, the Sumerians were the co-founders, guided and instructed by the Anunnaki, of the first great Mesopotamian civilization, as the region between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers was then called. These two rivers originate in the mountains of Turkey and flow into the Persian Gulf. Where modern-day Iraq is located, the social, economic, political, and cultural organization of the Sumerians was responsible for the world as we know it today. They influenced the formation of Greco-Roman societies, which in turn influenced the entire Western world, and their influence is still strongly present to this day. The Sumerians developed techniques in medicine, architecture, engineering, and hydraulics based on magnificent knowledge of mathematics, chemistry, physics, and astronomy, endowed with extensive and incredible astronomical knowledge for their time. Their calculations of the lunar cycle differed from current calculations made by our astronomers by only 0.4 seconds. At the Kiyunjik Hill, located in ancient Nineveh, a calculation was found, the final result of which in our numerical system corresponds to the number 195,955,200,000,000, a number with 15 digits. At the height of their knowledge, the Greeks did not go beyond 10,000, attributing the rest to infinity. The Sumerians also developed agriculture using techniques of irrigation and soil drainage. They constructed canals, dikes, and reservoirs. They developed a system of laws based on customs, had commercial skills, and created cuneiform writing, so named because it was made on a clay tablet with a wedge-shaped stylus. They also established a system of political unification of city-states or sovereign states, as was the case in Ur, Nippur, and Lagash. They created a system of priestly hierarchies for religious organization, founded the first libraries, and also created phenomenal architectural projects called ziggurats, which were true pyramid complexes encompassing various modules of buildings, housing religious temples and plenary halls for political discussions interconnected by spiral ramps from the base to the top. With the translation of the tablets, much information was found about the daily lives of the Sumerians, their marriages, contracts, laws, rights, and duties, all of which are natural aspects of a society. However, and most curiously, some of these tablets narrate the direct relationship of the Sumerians with extraterrestrial beings named by them as Anunnaki or Nephilin, explaining, among other things, Nibiru, the planet from which they came. The connection of Nibiru with the origin of Earth. What brought them to Earth, and the most astonishing of all, their interference in the evolution of a primitive simian being Homo erectus into modern man, a Homo sapiens sapiens. The tablets also narrate the conflicts and battles they created while they were here, the near destruction of our planet due to the wars they waged among themselves, the alliances they made with the terrestrials, which divided the planet into regions dominated by them and their descendants, and that still endure to this day, controlling humanity according to their own interests. Basically, the legacy of Sumerian knowledge recorded on the tablets reveals that our planet originated from multiple collisions between the natural satellites of Nibiru and a gigantic celestial body, the planet Tiamat, each time the planet of the Anunnaki entered our orbit. This is described in various mythologies as an interstellar divine battle initiated in the constellation of Orion, where the Nephilim and Nibiru supposedly reside. As narrated, Nibiru would have been diverted from a binary system millions of years ago until it was captured by the gravity of our Sun and entered our solar system. Studies reveal that the orbit of Nibiru is elliptical and crosses our orbit between Neptune and Uranus, with a very intense magnetic field capable of displacing Uranus when it passes by. Thus, during complete cycles between its perigee and apogee, for thousands of hundreds of years, Nibiru and its moons collided with the planet Tiamat, which was a celestial body covered almost entirely by water, until these consecutive collisions resulted in the near disintegration of the watery giant, dividing it essentially into two parts. One half was pulverized, creating what we know as the asteroid belt, located between Mars and Jupiter, and the other half was pushed into a lower orbit, the current orbit of our blue planet, effectively creating planet Earth. In fact, according to the tablets, during its first passage, Nibiru would have been responsible for the current configuration of our solar system, dragging and pushing Pluto, which at that time was only a moon of the planet Saturn, into its current orbit, elevating the small celestial body to the status of a planet or dwarf planet. The Sumerian tablets already knew and recorded all of this. However, it was only in February 2000 that this information could be confirmed when the near mission ended with the spacecraft that NASA had sent into space. This mission was led by Dr. Yang Cheng, a senior member of the engineering team at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, California Institute of Technology in Pasadena. Currently, he works on the development of machine vision algorithms for space robotic exploration missions, and thanks to these studies, the massive celestial collisions that occurred at the beginning of our solar system were confirmed. According to Zechariah Sitchin, Nibiru has an orbital period of 3,600 years compared to Earth and orbits two suns. The Sumerians described it as being 4 times larger than Earth, reddish in color, and responsible for significant changes on our planet each time it crosses our solar system. They also implied that the accumulation of these passages gives rise to gigantic cataclysms of planetary proportions, such as the one that occurred 13,000 years ago, which almost all cultures describe as a great flood or the deluge, which was the detachment of the polar ice caps from Antarctica. Furthermore, according to studies, Nibiru rises from bottom to top, astronomically speaking, which explains why the cataclysmic event occurred in the White Continent. It is no wonder that all major world powers have some bases there. Isn't it curious that a civilization as ancient as the Sumerians had such precise information about astronomy at a time when there were no technological devices of any kind? Or could they have received help from an alien source capable of traveling through space and interfering with a planet with primitive life? The fact is that the Sumerian tablets have given us precise information about all the planets in our solar system. One of the most impressive accounts relates to the data recorded about Pluto, a planet that was only discovered in February 1930. How could the Sumerians know the size of Pluto, know its chemical and organic composition, and even assert that the planet was a moon of Saturn that broke away and gained a new orbit? Moreover, they referred to it as the lead pot moon, stating that the planet's core was an iron gourd. To the astonishment of all, during the Apollo program, NASA confirmed all these data. Isn't that truly incredible? In 1983, the Infrared Astronomical Satellite (IRAs) photographed a large object in the vastness of space. According to NASA's conclusions, the celestial body was as large as Jupiter and possibly part of our solar system. However, it was only in 1987 that they officially announced the possibility of a new planet in our orbit. Planet X. At a conference held at the Ames Research Center in California, researcher John Anderson stated, a 12th planet may be orbiting the Sun. Its location would be 3 times the distance between the Sun and Pluto. While history and archaeology have given us writings dating back thousands of years about the formation of Earth with precise information and rich details, translated by Zechariah Sitchin, the foremost expert on Sumerian civilization, who has been heavily contested by those who have not been able to present anything as impactful as his work. Scientific research by the world's largest space agency has confirmed Sumerian information, albeit modestly, attesting that Sitchin's work was much more than what his detractors attempted to downplay. And it is these discoveries about the origin of Earth and humanity, where we truly came from and who we really are, that completely threaten the mainstream, the system, the matrix. Throughout history, humanity has been guided by science and/or religion, by empiricism and faith. However, over the course of these thousands of years, both science and religion have become instruments of power and control for powerful groups interested in manipulating and dominating the masses. Therefore, systematically and continuously, both science and religion have hidden, distorted, and even fabricated facts and information about the origin of our planet and our origin as humanity. In the scientific field, figures like Darwin and Lamarck made a significant part of humanity, believe that human beings evolved progressively and naturally from a primitive simian being. These claims were based on observations and assumptions made during their research expeditions around the world. which led them to develop the idea that a process of natural selection was responsible for the mutations of various animal species to adapt to the geophysical changes Earth underwent in the past. However, Darwin, in particular, prematurely concluded that beings could undergo any transformation to adapt. Thus, according to his view, a flying lemur could transform into a bat under certain circumstances, and a primate could have lost its hair, tail straightened, its spine become intelligent, and evolved into modern man, as we are today naturally. Darwin did not consider the fact, now evidenced by contemporary science, that this supposed evolution from a primitive simian being to modern man has a gap, an evolutionary leap, popularly called the missing link, of almost 8 million years without a plausible explanation. In other words, humans are one of the most complex organisms inhabiting planet Earth, and contrary to evolutionary logic, they are the ones who supposedly evolved most rapidly. In short, the theory of evolution, when confronted with itself, is not sustainable. The antithesis to Darwin's evolutionism is the theory of superior origin of species, proposed by Erich von Däniken and Zecharia Sitchin. This theory is a variation of creationism based on the discovery of immense human fossils and ruins of megalithic structures found all over the world. The megalithic sites are still present today, serving as tourist destinations scattered across the planet. As for the gigantic fossils and human skeletons found, foes that were not criminally destroyed, unfortunately, they are now gathering dust in the undergrounds of museums and military installations in remote regions of the planet, and ordinary citizens are unaware of their existence. Erich von Däniken traveled the world, dedicating his life to the study of ancient civilizations such as the Sumerians, Babylonians, Hindus, Incas, Mayans, and Aztecs. He was also one of the early modern proponents of the theory of superior origin, or ancient astronaut theory, as it became popularly known. He was the pioneer in the technical approach to the influence of extraterrestrial beings in the development of life on Earth. He and Zecharia Sitchin, despite numerous defamations and ongoing attacks by self-proclaimed debunkers, wrote several books, including the bestsellers Chariots of the Gods by Däniken and The 12th Planet by Sitchin, where both systematically emphasized that physiological mutations, along with the factor of intelligence, were introduced into the ancestral hominid through genetic engineering, resulting in Homo sapiens. They also argued that the entire civilizational process was similarly introduced gradually by these superior beings, mistakenly treated as gods. Däniken was the first researcher to confront the entire system matrix and publicly present this line of thinking. He was even mentioned by Zecharia Sitchin 5 years later, when the latter affirmed that the gods were indeed the astronauts of the past in response to the question posed by the former. And this is what we will see in the next video when we delve into the story of Nibiru, the Anunnaki, and the terrestrials. And from now on, everyone is invited to participate in the Nephilin expedition, heading into the past to then understand our present and prepare ourselves for the future that is approaching. Don't miss the next video for further insights. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and share it on your social media. Until the next video, all the narrative content on this channel is exclusive, and the copyrights of the texts and scripts belong to the scriptwriter Kito Mello. Therefore, be cautious of channels copying our material. Only here will you find your questions answered with the depth of someone studying the ancient astronaut theory every single day.